When running, we tend to think about the movement of our legs, but have you ever given much thought to your arms? Granted, obviously we don't run on our arms, but make no mistake, because the way that we carry our arms can have a massive impact on our running. So today I'm going to be running through a few tips and hopefully make running a little bit more comfortable and easier for you. Okay, let's start by stripping this one back a little bit. What do the arms actually do when running? Well, in short, they help to provide balance and rhythm. There is also a direct correlation between the movement of our arms and our cadence and stride length, and they can also help to provide propulsion forwards during running. Now, a lot of you will have felt this when walking and probably not even realized you're doing it. If you were to slow down the movement of your arms, that will decrease your cadence and slow your cadence down. If you were to increase the movement and the speed of your arms, that will increase your cadence. If you were to over-exaggerate the movement of your arms, it's going to increase your stride length, and vice versa. If you were to make that short and choppier, it's going to decrease that length of your stride rate. And then also, if you were to get to a hill, you might use your arms to help drive your legs up the hill. And as I mentioned already, all of which you probably do when walking and give very little thought to, you just do it. And it's no different for running, really. Understandably though, many concerned that excessive arm movement is, well, wasted energy and inefficient, and therefore we end up seeing runners keeping their arms quite close to their sides and restricting the amount of arm swing. Whereas in actual fact, it's been proven that a good rhythmic arm swing can help save somewhere in the region of 3 to 13% energy expenditure. So let me run through some key areas to help you. Okay, so do we hold our arms like so, or like so? That is the big question, but essentially you want to think of your arm like a pendulum, swinging back and forth from the shoulder joint just here. Now, if I was to look at the extreme here, straighten my arm right out and swing that back and forth, you can see obviously the length of that pendulum has extended out. We've got a longer lever here. It takes longer for it to travel back and forth. And as I mentioned before, that will have a direct impact on my cadence and my stride length. Now, if we compare this to, say, a sprinter, they tend to hold their arm around 90 degrees or more. And that is because they want to cover as much ground per stride as they possibly can, as they're almost putting out that maximal effort per foot strike. Obviously, in endurance, distance running, we want to be a little bit more conservative and efficient. So we want a slightly shorter stride length, and to do that, we want to reduce that pendulum or length of that pendulum and lever. So we're looking more like a 90 degree or less. So give myself as an example here. Here's the bottom of my ribs. What I do is I brush my hand just past the bottom of my ribs, just there. And this leads me on to, I guess, what we call lateral movement of the arms. In other words, do we want our arms to just go back and forth in a very linear fashion, or do we want them to come across the body to a degree? Well, there isn't really any set perfect technique here, and even in the elite world we see a complete mix of arm styles and how they're carried. But what we definitely don't want is the hands to be coming across the centre line. Now, by centre line, I literally mean a vertical line down through our body. If our hands start going across that centre line, it's going to start affecting our balance and our rhythm, and therefore resulting in a loss of energy. Now, to help you out here, what I do is bring my hands up so it's almost touching my pec and just below my collarbone. Now, following on from that, some runners mistakenly focus on driving the arms forward, I guess in an attempt to aid that propulsion forward. But what we tend to see from this is, by the arms just kind of staying forwards and not going back enough, is that the arms then come across the body, across that centre line, as I just discussed. Whereas in actual fact, oddly, a lot of momentum is actually created by the arm or the elbow driving backwards. I know that sounds quite odd, but what it actually does is puts your body into a more upright and forward position. It enables you to land your foot underneath your body far more easily, and then also enabling you to propel yourself forward, all whilst keeping yourself obviously nicely balanced. Now, one way to improve this arm swing is actually to focus on our hands. So whilst actually running out on the road or out on a trail, keep an eye out for your hands and what they're doing. If you can see your hand throughout the whole arm movement and the whole swing, you're probably keeping them far too far forwards. Ideally, what you want them to do is actually disappear outside of your peripheral vision. Now, in terms of the hands themselves and how we hold them, well, many runners end up clenching them and keeping their hands far too stiff. That's going to have an impact on tension through our arm. Now, if we want to keep our arms nice and relaxed and have a nice efficient swing with the arms, we want to keep the hands really relaxed too. So just lightly hold your fingers together. You can either put your thumb inside of that grip or just on top like so. And finally, if you're feeling pain, soreness or tightness in your shoulders, in your upper back, or even into your neck, it could be because you're holding your shoulders too high and therefore storing quite a lot of tension in them. This is really common, and hopefully a number of these previous tips will help you out here. But failing that, something I do all the time, particularly so when I'm running hard and I end up getting quite tense, is I just drop my arms down by my side whilst I'm actually running, so they're nice and floppy. Just relax them out, and then I just gradually start bringing them back into my stride, into their normal movement, whilst keeping the shoulders nice and relaxed. Well, there we go. I hope you found some of those tips useful today. Do not underestimate the importance of your arms whilst running. The key is to keep them relaxed and use them as you do when you're walking. Well, I hope you have enjoyed today's video. If you have, give it a like and make sure you're following GTN on social media. And if you'd like to see more videos from GTN on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed.